Hi, this is Vijay, and you are watching Focus and Blur channel. In today's video, we are going to see 5 global and local news events which have taken place in the recent past. Firstly, we are going to see why and how Tesla stock is under the weather and if there is any way forward. Secondly, we are going to see how India is navigating the US tariff situation. Thirdly, we are going to see how California's governor, Gavin Newsom, how he is trying to change the political situation in America by starting a new podcast. In local news, we are going to see how BYD is opening a new plant near Hyderabad and how it's going to change electric car scene in India. And lastly, we are also going to talk about a new law in offering where Maharashtra government is planning to ban new car buying if you do not have private parking space. So let's start. Now, Tesla is facing three major challenges. The first one is the sales saturation. Now, many people were thinking that eventually all car sales will be electric car sales. But what if that's not true? Now, in some markets, such as Norway, we have seen that electric car market share has crossed 90%. But if you see Europe, it's still at 13 or 14%. In US, it's at 8%. I'm talking about new car sales. Now, if buyers are no longer buying electric cars in droves for whatever reason, maybe it's too costly, maybe they have charging anxiety, or any other reason, then it's possible that the sales will plateau. And that is one of the major reasons why Tesla stock might be under the weather. Now, second point is about autonomous driving. Now, Tesla has been promising robo taxis for quite some time now. Let's assume it delivers on that promise this year. Now, when I saw Ron Barron talk about robotaxis, he was saying that robotaxis will be safer compared to human car drivers. Ron Barron is a major investor in Tesla. But I believe that the goalposts have been shifted by Waymo. And now Tesla is no longer competing against human car driver, but it's competing against Waymo. Now, Waymo has LiDAR and it's kind of a radar that's used to detect objects in front, but Tesla won't have that. So now it's up to Tesla to prove that its camera plus other sensor technology is able to match Waymo's LiDAR plus camera plus other sensor technology in terms of safety. So I'm not 100% certain that Tesla will be able to do that, but let's keep our fingers crossed and let's see how it compete against Waymo. The third point is about change in the customer base. Because of Elon Musk's changed political views, now the people who are buying Teslas earlier may no longer buy Teslas. Also, the people who are aligned to um, Elon Musk's new political views, many of them are not so enthused about buying electric cars, anyways. So that could prove a double whammy for Tesla sales. Let's see how Tesla navigates these waters. But I don't think it's all over for Tesla. So let's see if there is any light at the end of the tunnel for Tesla. Earlier, I was in Jim Cheno's camp, who was in favor of shorting Tesla. Then I moved to Charlie Munger camp, which essentially said it's better to sit out this one and not trade the stock. I'm still in Charlie Munger camp. I don't think it's all over for Tesla. Tesla is still innovating. We have all seen Optimus, what that robot can do. Also, Tesla is going to come up with a new car, which is much cheaper compared to Model 3. So I don't think all hope is lost. And anytime we see a guy who is actually doing something, um, I've come to the conclusion that it's better not to bet against that guy because eventually he may find a solution. But if you ask me, I'm still kind of in sync with Charlie Munger, and I'm not going to trade this stock. Now, as far as US tariffs are concerned, I believe that India is negotiating quite well. India has hinted that it will lower the taxes on Google, um, Harley Davidson, different types of liquor. So it's trying to placate America in certain manner in certain sectors. So also it's in America's interest not to completely antagonize India because of the geopolitical reasons and how it wants to isolate India from BRICS. So I do not believe India will face too many sanctions or tariffs as such. India will be able to negotiate its way out of this one. Now, I'm not sure how many people know about California's governor, Gavin Newsom, but Newsom has been a major political entity in Democratic Party for quite some time, and he may very well run for presidency in 2028. Now, he has started a new podcast, and he has been inviting conservative personalities on his show. And it's quite interesting to see how he's debating and how he's honing his skills against the people who are holding opposing viewpoints. So I think it may come handy when it's time to run for the presidency. But overall, I do believe that having dialogue is much better than having no dialogue. So I would say thumbs up for Gavin Newsom. And it's quite interesting. So let's keep an eye on what he's doing. Finally, some local news. BYD, which is a Chinese car company, is planning to have an electric car plant near Hyderabad. Now, we already know that Tesla is also planning something. So it looks like Indian car manufacturers are going to face a lot of competition going forward. Now, if you look at electric car sales from last year, Tata sold close to 60,000 vehicles. And if you look at Mexico's car sales from last year, BYD sold close to 40,000 electric cars in Mexico out of total 70,000 electric car sales in Mexico. Now, if BYD starts manufacturing low cost electric cars here in India, I'm a bit worried about our Indian car manufacturers. Now, I felt as if the reason Indian government gave NOC um, was that maybe they felt that this is a benign investment and it's not as if it will be able to influence Indian minds similar to TikTok. But things are not looking that great for Indian car manufacturers, to be honest. I mean, if this continues. So let's hope that Tata and Mahindra and others will be able to compete against international car companies, and they will be able to ensure that the Indian wealth remains here in India. Now, last news is about Maharashtra government planning to ban new car buying if buyer is not able to provide the proof of private parking space. Now, this is a slippery slope, and I would like to ask government to reconsider and see if there are any alternatives. Because at the end of the day, I do believe car is the medium of freedom, and we should explore if other avenues exist or not. We should also see who is going to get affected by this law. The people who are already living in redeveloped buildings or new buildings, they already have private parking spaces, so this is not going to affect them. But think about lower middle class or middle class guy who is not able to rent or buy such a place in new or redeveloped building and who does not have any private parking space, but he has finally saved enough to buy a new car. Now we are going to take away that joy, that freedom away from him. Of course, he can buy a second-hand car, and there will be loopholes, believe me, because somebody is gonna buy from government and immediately sell that car to this lower middle class guy who wants to buy a new car. Right? So there can be multiple loopholes like that. So instead of adding more and more laws, let's see if we can incentivize more parking space in the city. Maybe the buildings which are redeveloping, We can give them more stories for parking as such, and then they can rent out those parking spaces. We can have parking spaces under public spaces, for example under parks or playgrounds, etc. So what I would say is, eventually as more and more buildings get redeveloped, this problem will go away. So instead of rushing, I would say, let's just wait if possible. And unless it's really the last option, I would really hesitate to uh, act on this ban. So that's all I had for this week. If you like the video, then do share and subscribe. You are watching Focus and Blur channel.